Anything below this?
Yeah, so I am of the very strong opinion that when you play a class in BDO, you should not look at any tier lists at all for that class. And I think that you should play a class because you really enjoy it, not because you think that somebody's perspective of the class is, it's like, oh, it's really good right now, right? And so, like, I don't do tier lists. I will be honest with people. Like, if somebody comes in and they're like, hey, Blue, how is Dark Knight doing? I'd be like, I love Dark Knight. Like, I find her a lot of fun. But yeah, she struggles in late game PvE, and she struggles in, you know, some PvP, but you can absolutely make her work if you're a god. But like Awakening DK really does struggle. Suck DK is doing a lot better though, right? But like I try to take it on a class by class basis, and that's probably the worst example of something, right? Somebody comes in, it's like, how's Kuno doing? How much time you have? Because that bitch is S tier at everything. But like, yeah, I really like. I think it discourages people from playing the class. You know, when they see their class in like the D tier on literally everything, it does discourage people from playing. And somebody asked me earlier today, like, how's Awakening DK? And I was like, well, she's basically D at everything, right? But I still find her a lot of fun, and I play her because although she's like below average on pretty much everything she does, she's still like within limits that like, it's like, okay, sure, right? It's like, all right, you're not like super crazy far behind the pack, but like, you know, whatever, right? Why is it that every time I test this game, Awakening DK is bad? I don't think that Awakening DK has been actually like legitimately good since her release before she was nerfed. She's been like solid, right? But not like good.
Should never be a thing.
Yeah, see, like this shit right here. Like, I just don't like telling people this.
Anything below this just should never be a thing in the ball. I think arguably, like, anything under red should never be a thing. I think anything under orange should only be.
Oh, so he's saying that in the offense ball, he's saying that no one should be playing Suck Warrior, Suck Musa, Suck Mewa, Suck Kuno, Awakening Ranger. Suck Drak is a crazy take. I'll be honest with you. Yes, Suck Drak might be struggling right now, but she's got a lot of AoE. Tanky frontline, like she's got a lot of really good things. Like she's a solid class, but like she's admittedly she's struggling a little bit. But like I think that Suck Drak is a lot better than what he's putting it on this list. Like, well, it's not necessarily a lot better, but like I'd say to say that you don't want Succession Draconias, to say that you don't want to Suck Warrior, I think is a fair statement. In large scale PvP, I'd say that like if you don't want to Suck Warrior, okay, you know, but even still, like you don't want them in the ball, but they can contribute. Like Suck Warrior can contribute to the cannon team, to the flank squad, etc. It doesn't mean that they don't have a place in Node Wars, to be clear. And the problem with tier lists like this is that people will see these tier lists and they'll be like, oh, that means Suck Warrior's not viable in large scale PvP. That's not true at all. Suck Warrior can absolutely be super great. It's a great 1v1 and small scale skirmisher. So like you need to play it on the flank or with your cannon team, primarily the cannon team, or even on defense. It can be great at that too, or anti-cannon, right? It can do great things in a skirmish setting, but he's right. It doesn't go well in the ball. But if you categorize stuff like this, can get a little rough. But I think that Suck Drak is absolutely a ball class. You can't really take that away from Succession Draconia. Like, because if you say that Suck Drak can't be played in the offense ball, she can't really be played on the cannon team, and she can't really be played on defense. She is meant to be a frontline, like, engage class. She's the first in, last out kind of deals. She jumps in the middle of everybody. She saps everyone's mana to 0. She can PA herself and keep herself healthy. She's got sustain. She has a lot of big AoE damage. Yes, she struggles a little bit with survivability, no question. And yeah, I would agree she's struggling, but like she can absolutely be played in the ball. She should be in the B tier, in my opinion. They absolutely should be in the B tier. Trying to say that an Awakening Kuno outperforms Suck Drak in a head-to-head ball fight, barring the Awakening Kuno literally being a god at Awakening Kuno, normally you take the average BDO player that has like 8 fingers, right? And they say, okay, I want to play Awakening Kuno. One wants to play Awakening Kuno. One wants to play Suck Drak. The Suck Drak is going to outperform the Awakening Kuno 99 times out of 100. And it's because Suck Drak is an easier class to play. It's more durable, has more AoE. It's just easy. It's just easier to get behind. You can just follow calls, listen exactly to what the shot caller is saying, and be useful. Now, if you're really good at Awakening Kuno, I would agree with his assessment. that like, yeah, a really good Awakening Kuno that understands how to take a shot call and be like, I know how to play around this and flank properly and like really make the most of Awakening Kuno. Yeah, you absolutely are going to probably outperform the Suck Drak in kills, but in overall viability, I do think that Suck Dracania for the vast majority of PvPers and PvEers and just players in general that are trying large scale PvP, Suck Drak is definitely an easier class and will outperform in terms of usefulness. In an offense ball, Suck Drak should outperform a class like Awakening Kuno. Right, and unless it's a super experienced player, like I said, and like again, presenting it like this literally tells people, "Oh, I guess I should just never play Awakening Nova." Well, bro, Awakening Nova is a phenomenal ball class, and like it can be, right? And so, like, if a new player, and this is another big thing that a large scale PvPers miss, right? And they don't understand because they don't understand how to lead guilds, they don't understand how to recruit players, they don't understand how to like build a community, right? They'll tell people, they'll make tier lists like this, and I'm not trying to shit on Johnny. I love Johnny 5. But like, because a lot of people make tier lists like this, but like they take a player that originally would be like, I want to play Awakening Nova because I think that class is really cool, right? I'm sure I have a few new players in the chat right now that are playing Awakening Nova, and you guys are having a lot of fun. And slay, Foibes, love you, queen. But they'll see a tier list like this, or their guild will be like, no, Awakening Nova's dog shit. You shouldn't play it. Absolutely dog shit. And they'll force them to reroll to a class that is more valuable, like Succession Lon or Succession Megu or Archer or whatever. And what happens is that player is just always dog shit at the game. They always underperform. And these guilds, they wonder why, oh my God, these like bots in our guild, this like low end, they just never get good at the game. And they never understand how to play. I mean, you're playing Suck Megu, how hard is it? And like these players, they don't grasp the concept that you have forced them to play a class that maybe like Awakening Mystic or something that they don't want to play. And when you force a player to play a class that they don't want to play, they're not going to spend any time learning that class. Okay? They will spend 0 time learning that class. But if you had just let them play Awakening Nova and said, okay, Awakening Nova, it can be incredibly good in a ball if you're really good. So we're going to try to teach you how to be really good. We're going to do VOD reviews with you. We're going to refer you to people that know what they're doing on Awakening Nova, and we're going to really encourage you to get better. We're going to practice with you in the battle arena. We're going to make sure that you get better. That player will put in the time on Awakening Nova to be super valuable. And believe it or not, those are the players that go on to be some of the best players on the whole server at their given class because they're willing to spend the extra time to learn a class that they actually enjoy, like Awakening Dark Knight. You see Awakening Dark Knight down here in the D tier, like I said before. Not doing super great, but you know what? If somebody wants to play Awakening DK in large-scale PvP, do you think that I would tell them, no, you need to just reroll immediately? No, I'd be like, all right, if it was my guild, I'd be like, all right, let's get in the battle arena. I'm going to show you how to do this. This is what you're looking at. This is what you're going to want to do. This is how you're going to do it right. We're going to make this work. Because the truth is,
I'll play
every
my
class...
Ranger every time over any other class. Could be the worst grinder in the game. I have no care or shits given for the optimal classes. Optimal is boring. Optimal makes you want to quit. Optimally can suck my nuts.
Well, I mean, like, do you really think this is still a thing in the PvP community? It obviously is. They're making tier lists about what's better. And in fairness, tier lists are content, right? They just make them for content.
For 4 months.
But like,
love you, Blue.
When tier lists from like Johnny 5 or even Armin or whatever, they make it to like Pistanity, a new player will see it, or they see it on my channel. And a new player is going to see this, and they're going to think to themselves, oh my God, is my Succession Striker really just that unplayable? And like, in fairness, Suck Striker is probably the worst class in the game at large scale PvP, but that doesn't mean it can't be played in large scale PvP. It just means that you have to understand what your place is. When he puts it in this D tier, he means as a ball. So like if your offense ball is going to fight their offense ball, like you're all grouped up with your guild, we call that an offense ball, is going to fight the enemy offense ball. Suck Striker doesn't do super great. But like Succession Warrior, if you want to put a Succession Striker on a cannon team, or on a flex team in a small scale 1v1 like skirmish area, right? On sides of the fight, Suck Striker can be excellent, can be very, very good, right? Like, so what new players don't understand when they come to this thing is that like there's a place for every class in large scale PvP. Every single class has a place and a function in the game, right? And you shouldn't just look at a tier list like this and understand that like, oh shit, no, my class is terrible at large scale. No, and again, I think that the only class that I'm seeing that's like crazy, I don't necessarily crazy disagree with this. tier list in terms of like ball classes, but like that's not what's going to be communicated to people. And they also think that like these PvP guilds nowadays and back in the day, they were always not as successful at recruiting players like as Dismantled or Reforged was. We pumped out some of the best players to play the game, that currently play the game. A lot of them are in Digi, right? Or made their ways into Cho or Corrupt or whatever. We started with those players and they were playing classes that were not very good, but we worked with them and we trained them, right? And they got really, really good because they put in the time and the effort to get better. But these guilds are like, they got to have it right now. They got to be stronger right now.
More than one tier of letters.
So like
A plus, A, etc. should just be automatically thrown in the trash.
Yeah, so like again, like if you're playing Awakening Lawn, guys, I want you to know Awakening Lawn can be a phenomenal large scale class. It can absolutely be, right? But you need a teacher that's willing to show you how to play Awakening Lawn successfully. Okay, like people just don't I'm an expert at large scale PvP. I'm not an expert at a lot of things in Black Desert, but I know more about large scale PvP than just about anybody's going to understand in the game's history. And where these classes fit. That's why I'm a really solid shot caller. And I've been training people at these classes for years. You should not look at tier lists like this and decide what class you want to play. That is the worst possible thing that you can do. Really, really good players, like digital members, like the Vagabonds Alliance, I'm blanking on the name of them, with Cho in it right now, and some of the others, right, like Corrupt and whatnot. They can look at this tier list, and that's when they want to start optimizing for ball classes, right? That's what this tier list is for. Anyone can make any class viable in large scale PvP. It's super doable. You just need to approach the situation correctly. Even a class like Awakening DK can top frag. Absolutely. Ask some of them. Like, ask some of the really good ones, right? But you got to be willing to put in the effort, and you're never going to put in the effort on a class that you don't like. You should never re-roll because some told you that a class wasn't good in large scale PvP. You should never do that. You should just come to somebody like me or somebody else that's willing to put in the effort instead of them just writing you off and saying, oh, it's dog shit, don't play it. They don't know what the they're talking about. You come to somebody like me or somebody else and you have a VOD review done. Like, you need to go to somebody that actually cares about your progression as a player, and you need to submit a VOD. And that's why I'll say right now, if any new player to large scale PvP, or even more of a veteran player, wants to submit their VOD to me, I'd love to bring back Fun Day Monday or Newbie Tuesday. I would do it on a different day, obviously, but like I could do like VOD reviews Sundays, or like Fun Day Sunday or something, and I could do.
Teton just resubscribed for 2 months. Shouts playing at RN.
And I could do large scale PvP VOD reviews for various classes. So like if you felt like you had a bad or a good node war on a class, or you want help, or you feel that your VOD would be a good like teaching VOD, like, hey, this is how you should play this class in large scale PvP, right? Like if you have like a good like Awakening Mystic VOD, or you have a great like Awakening Draconia VOD, and you think that you did really well, or maybe you're doing really poorly and you want that VOD assessed to show the community, I'm willing to do those VOD reviews on stream. Yes, I benefit from that directly, but it would also show people how to play their classes a little bit more aptly in large-scale PvP. I'm willing to bring VOD reviews back, at least in a minor sense. Just make sure that your VOD has like comms. Comms are really important so that we can understand what the shot caller is saying when your VOD happens, and then it's got to be at least like a reasonable like resolution, bro. We don't want to watch shit in 360p. Okay, so. Yeah. Aside from that, you're more than happy if you're struggling in large-scale PvP on any of these classes on this tier list, or you're struggling in PvP at all, or maybe you're doing really well in PvP and you want to show that to people, you can submit VODs to me and I can review those on Sunday. February was 8 months ago. We got to understand, when somebody says it's going to come out in February, I think it's, February's 4 months away. Right? So to me, I'm like, okay, well, it's not coming out until February of 2026, right? Because it didn't have a year on the thing. And no gamer words, of course. Yeah, try to refrain from using gamer words. All right, try to refrain from using gamer words. Can I record while doing node wars in bikinis? Yes, you can. In fact, it's almost encouraged. Not by me though, because I respect women.
Be a thing.
But like, anyway, I wanted to set that precursor. Like, hey, Johnny, I love Johnny to death, and he was making this tier list probably just for some content, whatever, no big deal. But I want people to understand that like tier lists like this are opinions of how people think about classes in the game. And you should always understand that even if it's my tier list from like forever ago, or if it's Choice's tier list, or it's Johnny's tier list, or it's Armin's tier list, it is their opinion. And their opinion is not law. Because I'll be honest with you, These people do not know as much about the game as they think they do, and that includes me. Okay, so like, you can prove everybody wrong. I've seen some Awakening Lawns absolutely dumpster every class on this tier list. I've seen Awakening Meiwas top frag against all odds in the best guilds. In the best guilds on the server. Nobody thought it would even be possible, and Akashi went and did it. Okay, so like, you can make these classes doable. You just need the right teacher. You need to put in the time. You need to put in the effort. Okay, like, don't listen to these.
If they're like top of their class, so
most of PvP is capped, to be clear.
B tier basically. If you want to be competitive, right? Like, if you just don't care, then it is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be competitive, like B tier, like, you got to be a really good suck whiz to be.
But yeah, no, Johnny knows a lot about large scale PvP, and I think that this tier list is probably pretty accurate. You know, I've been out of the scene for a while, so I'm not going to pretend to say that like I know what's best in Node War and whatnot, because, you know, I've been out of it for a little over a year now, or over a year now. I haven't been involved, but I will say that my knowledge is still extremely relevant. And even back then, I felt that tier lists were kind of misleading, and nowadays, you know, you fast forward 2 years, my platform's a lot bigger now, and I try to make people understand that even just because I say something doesn't make it necessarily true. Just because Johnny puts something on a tier list doesn't mean that you can't play that class in large scale and top frag on that class and really be the most impactful player in your entire guild playing Awakening Nova. Awakening Nova has the best vacuum in the entire game to set up engages for large scale PvP. I feel that it is egregious that he put it as low as it is on this tier list. I think that is just strictly disingenuous. I think that Awakening Nova is a phenomenal ball class, assuming that you play it as the flanker that she was meant, a flanker and pre-engage class that she was really meant to be, right? The assassin class. Like, right before an engage, you go in there, you throw some vacuums in there. It really makes the difference. You can carry a team fight with that. You can absolutely carry a ball v ball fight with those vacuums. You can also do a tremendous amount of damage. You're really fragile, and it's tough to play. So you got to be careful, right? Positioning is important, but you can say that on every class in the game. So, like, again, I could go through each and every one of these classes. I'm not going to. But every single class has a place in Node War, including Awakening Warrior, Succession Mystic, Awakening Dark Knight. Suck Valkyrie is also phenomenal. Awakening Nova as well. Do not let people fool you. These classes are all very viable. And I've seen just about every class top frag at one time or another, just because it's a player diff, right? It's a player diff. That when you understand your class better than everyone else, you just play better than everyone else.
Useful right now.
What up, Pinks? I'm sure that Pinks probably, I don't know if Pinks would necessarily agree, but I bet Pinks would probably outfrag a lot of people in Node War, even on Awakening Meiwa. Even on Succession Meiwa. And he says, oh, you shouldn't play Suck Meiwa in the ball. Probably true. But if you play it in Flex, could be really good.
Otherwise, you're just a heal, PA, speed spell. But it's like, I would rather have a Suck Corsair heal.
No, that's crazy. Hold on, listen to this.
If you want to be competitive, like B tier, like, you got to be a really good suck whiz to be useful right now. Otherwise, you're just a heal, PA, speed spell. But it's like, I would rather have a Suck Corsair heal. Awakening Caster is just infinitely better.
That's madness.
Ton of issues with a lot of.
In fairness, he's not wrong. Suckcaster is so hard to play that people end up being bots on this class. People just have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Awakening Caster, very easy to play. Really easy to get value out of Awakening Caster. But to say that you would want a Suck Corsair over any over the casters, you're like, oh, well, you only provide speed spell, which is like a attack cast speed buff to the entire offense ball. Also protected area, which makes everybody invincible for 7 seconds. No, I'd rather have the once every 8 minutes Succession Corsair heal that they can totally fuck up. No, that's no, that's now. In fairness, Suck Corsair probably really good in large scale PvP right now, and it's really easy to play, so that's good. It's not to say you can't get value out of them, but like I think you kind of understate the importance of protected area and speed spell, especially if you don't have them. If you already have a lot of casters, sure, the Suck Corsair can be better, but none of this is said here.
These classes, I think Awakening Guardian is like.
Johnny did say it. This list was based on the average player, not Giga Chads of the class. So you're telling me that the average player on Awakening Kuno can outperform or out-contribute to the offense ball. I don't want to say outperform because that implies that all Node War is about is getting kills, and that's not what Node War is about. It's about helping. It's about your contribution to the overall victory of the guild. All right, you should never think of it as an individual player. Yes, kills do contribute to that. That's why Archer is solid. but what they contribute is kills, right? You're saying to me that the average Awakening Kuno is going to outperform the average Succession Dracania. I would laugh at you. All Node War is about is getting kills. Right. And so Armin has this perspective, and he's saying XD, right? Because he's obviously joking. But also, a lot of players have that perspective. And so going into the PvP community, you need to understand that what a lot of people get out of PvP, like Armin, or pretty much, a lot of the top end players, are how many kills did you get in Node War? Look at that kill feed, right? Look at that. Look at your score line, right? That's what matters. And as a shot caller, that is not all that matters in the ball. In fact, yes, you can have players that are overperforming like Armin. He can play like Ninja, right? If Armin plays Ninja, he's going to outperform every other Ninja in the Node War, right? He's a gamer. But if everybody plays Ninja, the ball gets rolled and you lose every time. Even if everybody is playing like Armin, everyone is dead every time. And it is not close, right? So there's a lot more to Node War than just, getting kills, right? There's things that contribute to the overall success of the guild that matter tremendously. And Succession Dracania contributes a lot more to an engagement than Awakening Kuno does, okay? Now, a tremendously good Awakening Kuno will outperform a tremendously good Succession Dracania because the skill ceiling of the class is just that high. The skill ceiling of Awakening Kuno is much higher, and so when you get a really good Awakening Kuno, now it's going to punch, right? But if you're talking about the average player, well, the average player in BDO only has like 8 fingers, okay? And most players are going to be able to get a lot more value out of a class like Succession Dracania because it's much easier to play. It's got really good AoE. You bring team like support potential. You can give yourself a heal in a protected area. Basically, you can keep yourself protected, and you have a very, very well protected class. And Awakening Kuno is pretty protected too, but if you're not good at her, it's not going to matter for shit because the APM is so high, you're just going to get caught anyway. Suck Drac is like the APM is tremendously lower. The AoE is much higher. You're sapping people's mana. You're able to keep yourself afloat. It's much less fragile than Awakening Kuno is. You end up contributing to the guild overall at a much stronger level. And also, if you're an average player, most players do not understand how to properly flank in a team fight. So like when you're engaging in Black Desert Online, these are the 2 offense balls. For those of you that don't understand, when guilds group up on the minimap, they all get like they ball. We call it balled up because all the dots create like a circle. Okay, so like one guild is fighting another guild. Most players, when the shot caller says, "All right, hard engage, go 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 go," most players are gonna go directly at the enemy guild. They're just gonna run in. They're just gonna start dropping spells. That's how the average player plays Node War. They're just hard engage. They go. All right. And if you do that on Awakening Kuno, and Armin will tell you, if you go from this position right here on even Ninja, and you go directly in, you will die in 4 or less seconds every single time. Okay. And that is the majority of players. Okay. That is the majority of players. Okay. But if you're a Kuno and you're really good, you're actually standing over here. So when the offense, like when the leadership says, the shot caller says, go in, and everybody else is going like this, you are hitting them where they don't see you coming. And the beauty of a class like Kunoichi and Ninja is because they're phenomenal at catching people when they're not paying attention, which is very common in large scale PvP because there's so much going on. You can't like lock in on what a ninja's doing. You can't you can't keep track of everything. And so you end up losing track of your surroundings and you don't see the ninja or the Kuno coming up. And a lot of times they're approaching in stealth from the side and you hit people where they don't see you coming. You get that extra damage. You catch them. You get a massive catch and you are super impactful in the team fight. But that takes a much better than average player to understand how to actually execute that in practice. Okay, an average player is going to group up with the ball. The shot caller is going to say, okay, regroup, everybody get on ping. And they're going to go directly to the ping and they're going to stand there and wait like a, okay? Because let's be honest with you, you're herding sheep. Most people, average players, they're sheep in large scale PvP. They go to the ping. I'm going to wait for them to tell me what to do next, okay? A good Kuno is like, all right, the ping is there. Where's the offense ball? Oh, it's over there. Okay, I'm going to go over here. Or, there's some terrain over here. I don't really want to do that. So they'll sneak around the back of the boat. They'll go over here, right? They're setting up before the fight has started. They're already taking the initiative to understand what is going on. They have a much greater awareness of how to play the game than the average BDO player does. The average BDO player knows the shot caller says go, I go, right? And Succession Dracania is extremely good at just hitting that go switch, which is why I think that he's got it. Like you said that this tier list, he said, I don't know if that's true. But if he made this tier list for the average player, he has Suck Drac way too low. And he has Awakening Kudo and Awakening Ninja way too high. As a guild lead for many years, I can tell you these players are trash. Anytime you have Awakening Kuno or Awakening Ninja, I'd take a deep breath and be like, okay, we can make this work, right? I wouldn't discourage them from playing it, but that is going to bottom frag for the first like month and a half that they play the class. And then we have to VOD review them, we have to teach them. But once they get really good, oh baby, then they start understanding. Then they start getting it, right? And Suck Ninja is the same way. Suck Ninja is not nearly as protected as even the class right next to it, Suck Zerker. What are we talking about? Suck Zerker adds way more to a ball fight than Suck Ninja does in almost every case, right? Suck Ninja does have a great 100%. And Suck Zerker has a much stronger 100% when you talk about like the greater impact it has on the offense ball because the stun and the HP regen that it has on it, because the Suck Zerker can stand out in front. It's going to go directly at the opponent. You don't need to set it up. You literally just, the shot caller says go, and you just run at the opponent and you cast the ult. Suck Ninja, you can't just run at the opponent and cast the ult. You'll die before it even finishes. Like you have to, but if you cast it correctly, the Suck Ninja ult can actually outperform the Suck Zerker ult. 100% it can, but it takes an exceptional player to do that, especially in a large scale setting. So like, and again, you look at the average player is going to outperform, the average Suck Zerker will outperform the average Succession Ninja in most cases. In terms, and I say perform, but what I really mean, out-contribute to the offense ball. Because even though Suck Ninja might get X amount of kills, how much were those kills actually valuable? Because I can tell you right now, I used to be in guilds with people that were like, oh my god, look at my kills. Holy shit, I have so many kills. And not a single kill they got was relevant to the offense ball at all. 0% relevant. Because what would happen is we would all engage, the guild dies, and then they would get like 2 or 3 kills after the fight, just like trying to pick off stragglers after the fight's over and everything's already done. So, did you get 2 or 3 kills? Yeah. How much did that matter? 0. We still lost the flag. Thanks, asshole. Because you didn't want to engage when the rest of us were there, right? So just because you got a lot of kills doesn't mean you actually contributed to your team winning the fight, okay? Like, I've seen so many people, they get like crazy amount of kills in Node Wars. Well, were you with the offense ball ever? No, I just went off and did my own thing the whole Node War. Well, anyone can do that. Shit, bro. You just stopped listening to the shot caller. Why didn't I think of that? Like, so many people go into Node War and they're like, it's all about me. It's me. I'm here for me. Like, no, you're here for the guild. You're here for each other. That's what we're all here for. Node War is meant to simulate some grandiose medieval battle where you've got magic and it's like Lord of the Rings, like the Riders of Rohan going in with the boys in Siege, and you're riding into a army of orcs together like, let's go! Right? That's what it's about. It's about the boys. It's not about you. It's not about you. So, yeah. About time we get you back, you bald. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Anyway, like, again, there's a lot of intricacies that go into large-scale PvP and being useful in large-scale PvP, and I don't think he necessarily kind of highlighted that as good as he maybe could here.
Okay, but I would just rather have a good Succession.
And this class now is...
Oh, God. Here we go with this bonobo, son of a bitch. Here we go. This is the Arena of Soul Lair tier list.
So scary to fight.
I have heard some crazy shit about Archer. I'm going to be honest with you. Not 1, not 2, not 3. At least 6 or 7 people have come to me now and told me that Archer is just absolutely unbelievably good in PvP now. Like it is, like it just blows away even like strikers and stuff. It's just that, like you can't catch it, it just blows it away. I don't know what the they must have changed, like they changed Archer's damage in a recent patch, and maybe that's what did it. Like they spread their damage to other skills, and Archers initially thought that was a nerf, but like now it's like, bro, I tell you, like I've gotten a lot of reports that Archer is just like absolutely insane now. Absolutely nuts.
It has no gaps. You can't CC it. It does so much damage. It has so many CCs. It just spams protected CC after protected CC after protected CC.
2 patches ago. 2 patches ago, 3 patches ago, he could have been talking about Deadeye. You'd never know. You would never have known. Now it's Archer. And as somebody that really likes Deadeye but doesn't like playing Archer very much, thank God. On behalf of the other Deadeyes, yeah, Archer. Yeah, that class. Yeah, no, yeah, that shit.
Bro, this class is insane. I actually think that I mean, just from what I've seen, I will put it in A+ tier. But there's a world where this class can get top 3.